Hello, this is Brian Peters, and today I'm going to talk to you about snare drum technique. There are three main grips that snare drummers use, and they are the matched grip, in which both palms are facing the floor, the traditional grip, in which the left is held in a different way, and the French grip, in which both thumbnails are facing upward. Today, I'm going to focus on the German grip, and in future videos, I'll discuss the French and the traditional grip. So with any percussion instrument, we want to get the playing surface to resonate as much as possible. When doing so, I love to use the analogy of a tennis ball being dropped on the drum head. Through exchange of energy, the ball will rebound off the drum like this. We can do this with a drumstick. Simply drop the stick and let the stick rebound naturally. And when you start dribbling, you're going to see that you're mostly using your wrist, and then with your arm, you're simply reinforcing the dribble. There's a rule of thumb, no pun intended, that when divided into thirds, you can grip the stick from the bottom third. You can test this by experimenting with different places to hold the stick and dropping like we did before. There are two main ways to hold the stick using the German grip. One is between the first joint of the index finger and the thumbprint. You'll notice that this creates some space in the hand, so we're going to call this the open grip. The other is between the middle joint of the index and the thumbprint. Now we've closed up the space, and we'll call this the closed grip. I look at these grips as equally effective in different situations. If you want more finesse and control, the open grip might be the way to go. Or if you want more power and speed, the closed grip might be the way to go. I see many beginners make one of the following two mistakes. They either hold the sticks like this, so we call this the chicken wing, or like this. The angle produced by a happy medium of those two extremes is the way to go. Okay, let's talk about the different ways of producing just one note. The full stroke, also called the natural stroke, is produced by simply initiating the stroke and letting the stick naturally rebound back to its starting height. The tap, also called the half stroke, is produced at a lower stick height. Like the previous stroke, the start and end height are also the same. The downstroke is produced with a higher starting height and ends with a lower height. The player purposely prevents the stick from rebounding fully. And finally, the upstroke is produced with a lower starting height and ends at a higher height. The player manipulates the stick so there is an intentional lift. As snare drummers, we're in control of the timbre or the tone color of our instrument. There are no right or wrong playing zones on the drum, but each spot leads to a different musical outcome. The center of the drum produces a very dry and punchy sound like this. The edge produces a thin, more resonant tone like this. And halfway between those two extremes is what we might call the default position, and that sounds like this. Sometimes in snare drum literature, or when we're playing drum set, we might want to use the rim like this. And to even further extend the possibilities, we have the side of the drum. You could play on the stand. You can play with your fingers. Okay, so the standard exercise that every drum line probably in existence plays is called 8 on a hand. So that would be 8 notes on the right hand and 8 notes on the left hand. So today I'm going to show you some variations upon this simple exercise so you can practice musicality as well as just technique. Okay, so this variation for full strokes is simply to get your muscles moving and work on the full range of motion. Really focus on the wrist turns and feel how the arm is there just to support the stroke. Okay, so the rest of the variations I'm going to play on a drum head. So for half strokes, we're going to be at a mezzo forte volume level, and here you're going to be a little bit more in control of the rebound. Okay, so here's the last of the static dynamic levels, and this will be at pianissimo. You're really going to want to be in control of the taps because I see a lot of beginners kind of producing somewhat of a buzz or just a crushed downstroke. Okay, so now we've come to the dynamic shifts in this exercise. This next exercise, each eighth note is within a crescendo, and that sounds like this. So next we're going to start with a forte volume, and each eighth note is going to decay like this. For the crescendi and decrescendi variations, you want to be in control of the rebound to smoothly execute the next volume level. The last variations require a sudden, or the musical term in Italian is subito, dynamic level. So I'm going to take one stick and play 16 on a hand, with the first 8 being pianissimo and the last 8 being forte. So what needs to happen on the last pianissimo note is that you're going to produce an upstroke and get ready for the forte volume. We're going to play the inverse now. It's going to be 8 forte notes and then a subito pianissimo note. So now we're going to play a downstroke to get lower quickly right away. So here's my final thought. Technique is simply a means to an end. It's a vehicle through which you express your inner musicality. As young percussionists, we tend to get really caught up in only focusing on perfect technique. You know, I'd focus on silly things like paradiddles at 500 BPM or a single stroke as fast as Buddy Rich's. Don't do that. Technique should always serve musicality. Now, with that being said, the more efficient your technique is, the better chance you have of expressing what you want to express. The perfect marriage of technique and musicality is where we want to be as musicians. So if you found value in this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next video.